I'm a researcher and have a deep interest in cryptozoology. I've studied many of these mysterious creatures through the sightings people report. Most folks have heard about Bigfoot, but not many are familiar with the skunk ape of Florida. Here's some background. Centuries ago, the Seminole Indians called them Esti Kapkaki, which means tall man. Palm Beach County has had numerous sightings since then. Here are a few of those encounters. My name is Bill, and I first saw the skunk ape back in 1973 when I was just 9 years old. This was only a few years after my father discovered a set of huge footprints while deer hunting with his brother in the Big Cypress National Preserve. I was walking through the swamp with my brother when I spotted it for the first time. It was so tall that I couldn't see it over the grass. My brother picked me up, and about 100 yards away, I saw what looked like a man, but completely covered in hair. The next encounter happened in 1974. Richard Lee Smith was driving near Hollywood Boulevard on the eastern edge of the Everglades in Pembroke Pines when he hit something with his car. He told the highway patrol that he initially thought he had hit a tall man in dark clothing, but was stunned when he realized it was a 7 or 8 foot tall, hairy creature that lifted itself off the road, roared at him, and charged his car. Smith floored the gas pedal and sped away. Over the next few hours, other drivers in the area reported seeing a limping giant walking across US 27. Officers were dispatched, and at 2:12 a.m., a Hialeah Gardens patrolman reported seeing the huge, hairy creature limping across the road a few miles away from the accident scene before it disappeared into the brush. At dawn, police searched the swamp with 2 helicopters, but failed to find anything. Throughout the years, people have seen this creature raiding their backyards for fruit, often leaving behind a horrible stench, like a dirty wet dog, that lingers for some time. Although the creature doesn't seem particularly aggressive, some people have been so unnerved by their encounters that they decided to move away. It has also been known to shake bushes and even take farm animals, like in one report where someone's pig was taken. Many reports come from homeowners and travelers, but law enforcement officers have also had their share of encounters with this fascinating creature. The skunk ape remains one of the most intriguing mysteries of the Florida swamps. My name is Bob, and my encounter happened in the summer of 2010 in the Green Swamp area of Florida. Me and 3 friends were camping at the Richland Wildlife Management area during Labor Day weekend. We were just sitting around the fire when I noticed that it got very quiet, like really creepy quiet. All the bugs disappeared, no animal noises, nothing. And then, all of a sudden, we heard what sounded like a tree being uprooted. We grabbed our spotlights and started searching. What we found was a good-sized pine tree, half pushed over. The tree was over 6 inches in diameter, and we were just scratching our heads, wondering what could have done this. We looked around with our spotlights for a few minutes, but didn't see anything. Still creeped out by what could have pushed this tree over, we decided to go back to our campsite and sit back down by the fire. Just as soon as we sat down, we heard a horrifying growl. We grabbed our spotlights again, scanning the nearby tree line, thinking it might be a wild dog. We panned our lights around on the ground for a minute, and then, when we raised them, to our shock, there was a large creature about 9 to 10 feet tall, maybe taller. It was covered in hair, which I guess I would call beard-like hair. It just stared at us for a minute or two, and we stared back, wide-eyed and mouths open. Then it darted back into the forest. We were so freaked out that we packed up immediately and got out of the area. After an hour or so, once we regained our composure, we decided to go back and see if we could find it again, or at least find some evidence that it had been there. We never did find anything, nor did we find any tracks. But the area where we were camping had pretty hard-packed ground. The only thing that was left behind was that pine tree it had pushed down. To this day, I would never go into that area by myself. It didn't seem aggressive other than the growl, but I really wouldn't want to take my chances with it again. That was my Florida skunk ape encounter. It was the fall of 2009 in Sumter County, Florida, where my dad and I were on a little hunting trip at the Richlome Wildlife Management Area in the Green Swamp. We'd been trudging through the swamps all morning, and every so often we were hit by this awful smell that would just come and go. We figured it was just the swamp. After a long morning of hunting and dealing with that stench, we were really thirsty. So we decided to head to a nearby convenience store since we had some time before our afternoon hunting spot. While driving to the store, we rounded a curve in the road, and my dad, who was going about 10 to 15 miles an hour, suddenly hit the brakes. There was something big, really big, that stepped halfway behind a scrub oak along the road. As we went by, we got a good look at it. I couldn't believe what I saw. I asked my dad what it was, and he asked if I saw it too. We both said the same thing almost at the same time, and we quickly decided to turn around and check it out again. But when we got back to the spot, it was gone. I was half excited and half terrified about what we might have seen. We got out of the truck to investigate and noticed a clear trail where something large had run off. The creature was about 7.5 feet tall, probably 4 to 4.5 feet wide at the shoulders. It was covered in dark brown hair with a reddish tint and stood on 2 legs. It looked incredibly muscular and solid. The face was mostly covered in short hair, but we could see its dark eyes and a flat, wide nose. The mouth was also wide, but proportional to its head. I'd guess it was around 300 pounds. I'd heard stories about people seeing a creature like this in the Green Swamp area, known as the Florida Skunk Ape, but I never really believed them. I figured they were just tall tales. But after experiencing it myself, I'm a true believer that there's some kind of creature roaming these swamps. Maybe next time, when we go hunting, I'll bring a camera with me. I'd love the chance to see this creature again and capture proof of what we saw.